Today's lesson is all about convection and conduction. So say we have a grassy area and a dark asphalt area, and it is a nice, hot, sunny day. We get our energy through solar energy, which is going to come down and radiate everything on the surface of the earth. And we know that darker materials absorb more solar energy. That is going to cause the air above the land to get hotter through infrared radiation. Hot air tends to rise, and as it rises up, it actually cools off. So the cool air sinks back down. Hot air is less dense, so that is why it rises. Hot things tend to rise. Cool air is more dense, and the cool things will tend to sink. As the cool air comes in, it takes the place of the rising hot air. So this whole process causes the wind, and it is the same circular current that we find in the ocean as well, which we'll talk about in another video. But this circular path of energy through fluids like air and water is called convection. So a quick review: when fluids like air or water become warmer, they become less dense and rise. And when fluids like air and water become cooler, they are more dense and they sink. Let's talk a little bit about conduction, or direct transfer of heat. So if you were to actually touch the pan on the burner or the pot in the oven, you would actually directly feel that heat energy transferred to your hand, and it would hurt. So this form of transfer of heat is called conduction. It is the transfer of heat energy between two materials in contact. Another way that heat is transferred is through convection, which is indirect. So say we have an old-fashioned space heater, and it is sending out some nice warm air into the room. If you feel this air, you are not actually directly touching the heater, but you do feel the warm air coming from it, and it is nice and toasty. So this form of energy is transferred through fluids by moving particles, and fluids would be air or water or other liquids. So think of it like this. When you have conduction, and it is with the letter D, you can remember that the D also relates to direct contact. That's a good way to remember it. And convection with a V, think of the V as being kind of an open container where particles can move around and transfer the heat energy. So that would be convection, and that's a good way to remember both of those. Now, heat energy always moves from the hotter material or the hotter area to a cooler area, and that is why when you heat a room, it is from warmer to cooler. So a quick review: heat can be transferred through direct contact or conduction, or indirect contact through convection. Now we'll talk a little bit about sea breeze and land breeze. So say you're enjoying a nice day at the beach and there is a nice sailboat out in the water. Maybe you're enjoying a nice cup of lemonade in the sun under an umbrella. Well, during the day, the land heats faster than water. So that means that the land becomes hotter than the water during the day. As we know, when the land absorbs the heat energy, it turns it into infrared energy, and it heats the air above the land. So the heated air above the land becomes less dense because it is warmer, so it begins to rise. The cool air that's over the water pushes towards the land, and it begins to take the place of that warm, rising air, and it pushes it up more. So this begins another cycle where the warm air is rising, and as it rises, it cools off and begins to sink down again because it is becoming more dense. This cycle is called a sea breeze, and this is when the air is moving from the water to the land. So as you see, it is another convection current. The second type of current we have happens at nighttime. So say you're at the beach at night. Well, the land cools off faster than the water. So the air above the water then is going to still be warm from all of the daylight sun's energy. So the air above the water is actually warmer, and it will rise because it is less dense. The air over the land is more dense, so it's going to push over the water and take the place of that rising hot air. And as that happens, the hot air will rise, it will begin to cool off and sink back down again, and you have another current, which is a land breeze. So at night, the flow of air is from land to water. So here is another convection current. And a quick review. Land will heat up and cool off faster than water. So air moving from the sea to the land is called a sea breeze, and air moving from the land to the sea is called a land breeze. Thanks for watching.